Hi everybody, I'm Ed. I wanted to make a quick video about one of the questions I see a lot, and it comes in a lot of different shapes and sizes, but it's essentially, I'm new to overlanding, I live in Washington, where do I go? So I'm here to show you exactly how I figure that out. So this is sort of where I start. This is my command center, so I'll probably make another video going over each of these individual resources and giving a little bit more detail about them, but I would say my most important resource I use and where I always start is this. So I'm a huge map geek, and I love this. This is probably my favorite resource that I use to find spots. So what I've got here is, it's a giant map of Washington State. I got this at Metzger's Maps in Seattle. I love that place. They're over by Pike Place Market. They're total map geeks. I love talking to them. I love going in there. I could spend hours in there just wandering around and looking at all the different maps and books that they have. But I've gone ahead and I put this on a big old piece of corkboard, and I've put push pins in all of the spots. They're kind of hard to see, but I put push pins in all of the spots that I've camped. So this gives me a really good reference point to kind of get an idea of where I might want to explore. So once I have an idea of where I want to explore, then I pull this out. This is probably another one of my favorite resources of all time. It's just a good old recreation atlas. It's really easy to use. It has this grid on the back, and all of these numbers correspond to page numbers. So say I wanted to go ahead and explore this area right here, one of my favorites, the I-90 corridor. So I'm able to come over here, I can find I-90 on the map here, and then let's see here, page 62. So we'll go ahead and we'll go to page 62, right here. And now I've got a blown up version here, and I can see all of the little roads and all of the little side trails and everything, and then I can sort of plan out my adventure from there. But it's really, really nice to be able to have just an easy reference point here in the legend. This is what I like to look for. My favorite kind of road, unimproved, yes! But you can actually see here the different kinds of roads and sort of like what you're getting into when you actually find where you want to be. So vintage books and maps, that's another really great resource. These are pretty old. This one, I believe, was from the early 90s. Yep, revised 1993. So some of this is going to be a little bit outdated, but it's a pretty good start. So this is the Washington Off-Road Vehicle Guide, but it kind of gives you a general area of places to off-road. You don't see these very often, but this is a really nice resource to have. I think it's vintage by this point. God, that makes me feel old. But yeah, it's got all these off-roading areas that will tell you. And Washington State is, it's really wildernessy, but there's not a whole lot to actually explore for wheeling. Here in Washington, they are really, really, really particular about where they allow vehicles when it comes to wilderness and off-road. And honestly, there's a lot more hiking trails than there are, like, actual vehicle and exploration trails. But that leads me to one of my other resources that I like to use. This one, Washington Ghost Towns and Sites Then and Now. Like I said, I love vintage maps. I love seeing where everything used to be, and this is a really good resource here. You can see kind of what's worth exploring. It's a really great way to find old mines, old ghost towns, and kind of where things used to be. A lot of the roads that are worth exploring in Washington are actually old logging roads. There were roads that were built as access roads to different logging sites that have since been not quite abandoned, but taken over by the Forestry Service and are now sort of maintained. We're losing them quickly, and there's a lot of closed gates, but that's sort of the fun of exploring, and that's sort of the purpose of the map here, so I can kind of know where I have and haven't been. So another good resource is books. I love Goodwill. The local Goodwills always have a lot of really good sort of Pacific Northwest themed camping books. There's a lot here. Look at this, Backpacking Washington's Alpine Lakes and Wilderness. Pacific Northwest camping. I got even more here. Look at all this. So we've got my little collection here. Day hiking, Mount Rainier, Snoqualmie, and the North Cascades. These are a really good resource here. I like to go and set up base camp and then maybe explore some other areas on foot. So I like to use a handheld GPS too. This is my Garmin GPS map 64ST. It came preloaded with topographical maps, which was really nice because it was ready to go right out of the box. There's a lot of pros and cons to this that I'll go over in another video, but what's really nice about it is I'm able to mark campsites and other cool locations. I'm able to track where I have been, which makes it really nice if I come up to a closed gate to be able to find another road around it. But I mainly use this as a reference point for my big paper maps. If you've ever used one of these to try and explore a map, it's really cumbersome to have to use all these buttons and everything to go up and left, down, and you have a really small space that you're able to work with. Versus being able to reference my location on this and then find it on a big map here, and then I've got access to all of these roads here that I can look at and be able to find whatever way I need around, and it's really fun to be able to sort of plan things out once I'm at a base camp or something and be able to look at a big map and find where I'm going to go the next day. So that's a basic overview of some of the resources I like to use to plan my weekend adventures. So I'm new at this whole YouTube thing. If you guys have any suggestions for me, go ahead and leave them in the comments below. Remember to like and subscribe, all that good stuff. I think that's what I'm supposed to say at the end of these, right? Anyway, thanks. Bye!